it all comes down to respect. And if they respect you as a manager, you respect them as a player. I mean, that's really pretty much what it's all about. I've always said that 99.9% of the players playing today, and even back when I managed, that had they been told, okay, we're going to give you $1 a day to play, they would play because they love the game. They may not like it. I mean, making $40 million is a lot better than making $1, but
right.
But they still do the game because they love the game. The vast majority of them. There are some that the dollar's the almighty king, but for every one of those, there's 100 of them that play the game because they love to play the game.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Flea. What episode is this?
Number 4.
Episode number 4.
Yes, sir.
With Seth and Kirk, and we appreciate all you guys joining us. And we've got a couple special guests on the phone with us. They're being remote because they're halfway across the country from us. Mike and Sharon Hargrove, good friends of ours, took the time out to spend about a half hour with us, talk some baseball, some what's going on with them with retirement, and obviously we'll have to bring up the Cleveland Guardians at some point too, just for fun. But
Sure.
Oh, sorry, Sharon, are you okay?
My throat.
Oh, yeah. It's a little dry out there where you guys are at.
Dry.
So, obviously, Mike, everyone's very familiar with you around these parts and in baseball. So for those that aren't, start off by telling us, just a real brief history on your baseball career, kind of where you started, where you ended up, obviously ended up managing, and yeah.
Okay,
You don't have to start off when you were like 3 years old. But
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got to kind of try to be quiet because these ladies are teeing off on the tee box sitting right in front of us, right on the patio here in Tubac, Arizona, and celebrating Sharon's birthday. But anyway.
Wait, is today Sharon's birthday?
Sharon's birthday is on the 20th. We decided to celebrate a little later.
Okay, well, happy birthday! A little bit late.
Well, yeah, the 20th of March. I don't want y'all to think he's senile.
Oh, that's really late.
We are celebrating late.
Good job, Mike.
House full of people for the past 3 weeks. So go ahead with your career, Mike.
Grew up in a small town, Perryton, Texas. Sharon and I both grew up there, and went to college at Northwest Oklahoma State University, and of all things, a basketball scholarship. Got tired of looking at everybody's kneecaps and ended up getting a football scholarship. Same school, played football and baseball. And coming out of college, I was drafted by the Texas Rangers and played a year and a half of minor league baseball and made the big league club out of spring training in 1974. I was in Texas for 5 years. I got traded to San Diego for about a month and a half. And then got traded from there to Cleveland, where I completed my playing career. 12 years career of seven of it in Cleveland, and it just was one of those things that just I like to tell people that of all the breaks that I got throughout my life, athletic life, I just felt like I was always in the right place at the right time, and it took me a long time to figure out that that's kind of where God wanted me to be. And he helped me make the right decisions to what path to follow. And so it all just it all culminated in what it culminated in. I got caught in the labor disagreement collusion in 1985, 86 season, and got as a free agent after the 85 season, and so I started my coaching career. Coached in the minor leagues a couple of years, and the fact of the matter is I coached there for 3 years, and then joined John McNamara's staff in 1990, and then he was let go in 91 after All-Star break, and they hired me as the manager and stayed there till 99, and from there went to Baltimore for 4 years, and then from there it's amazing how I got let go there, and set out 1 year and worked for the Indians in 2005, 2004. Anyway, the timeline. I worked a season with the Indians, and then as a consultant, and then was hired by the Seattle Mariners and ended up retiring in 2007. So I managed 16 years, played 12. So it's been a pretty good life. It's afforded us a lot of good things.
Yeah, what a career that you've had. The crazy thing is, like, what sticks out to me the most about that timeline is that I didn't realize you got a scholarship to play basketball and then also for football. Is that correct?
Well, I went to school. I was recruited. I don't know what in the world was wrong with me. I was recruited by TCU and Texas A&M and a couple other small schools to play football out of high school, and decided that I really liked basketball the best. And the only basketball offer I got was from Northwestern, small school over in Oklahoma. And
Well, that's pretty darn good.
Basketball there, and I was playing. I started as a freshman. I played a lot, but you're probably the only coach that I just never could get along with. And I usually get along with anybody. And so the football coach had been talking to me for one of his assistants, and so I said, well, if I quit the basketball team, that they would give me a full ride in football. And so I decided to take that route, and I'm glad I did because I really loved to play football. I really loved football. And my dad talked me into going out for the baseball team. I wasn't going to do that.
Wow.
Talked me into walking on, and I walked on, and kind of the rest is history. That's kind of where that's where God kind of enters the picture.
Yeah,
in my mind.
if God's hand wasn't in that,
kind of worked out. I'd say it worked out just fine.
I'd say it worked out perfect. No, that's crazy. So, Mike, so when did you and Sharon? When did you guys meet?
Oh, the day, and we'll live in infamy. Sharon and I met. Her brother Benny is my age. I'm 4 days older than he is, and so we were buddies in grade school and junior high and high school, and I met Sharon, being around Benny. She was in the 7th grade and I was in the 8th grade, and we ended up kind of becoming girlfriend and boyfriend. And
Who else was there, Mike?
Yeah, Mike, come on now. Tell us the rest of the story.
She didn't much like me when we first met. She tells me that I was in this play and I played the villain of the play, and she decided she did.
Oh my gosh!
So I must have been a good villain.
That's great.
So Mike, oh my gosh. So I'm just gonna do it now, just to rip the Band-Aid off. But so a couple years ago, remember when we came up to the game with you and Sharon, and because my next
you can't tell that story. I got to tell that story.
Well, I want to do it now just to get it out of the way because Sharon, it's not funny because you already know what he's gonna say. Because I had a bullet point to talk about, maybe the World Series in '95 or '97, and well, Mike and I had a disagreement.
Well. First of all, so we go up to Cleveland. Mike was so generous. Mike and Sharon were so generous to invite us up to a game, and we were able to sit with him and watch a baseball game. And so just trying to set the tone. We're just talking about baseball, and talking about kind of Mike's history and the Indians' history, and go ahead, Kirk. Tell them what you said.
It was a simple baseball comment. No, I wasn't biased. I just thought the '97 Yankees were really good. And
my goodness!
I mean, they had Hall of Famers. They had Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera. But Mike, I almost had to watch the game from a restaurant that evening.
Wait, so back up again. So, from my recollection, Mike, and you can intercede too here if you'd like. But my recollection was, we were just talking about baseball and talking about the World Series in '97 and Kirk goes, you know what team was really good in 1997?
Those moments you regret.
And I'm like, he's not gonna. Is he joking right now? I thought he was gonna say you guys.
Well, I mean,
and he's like the New York Yankees, dead serious as a heart attack. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Kirk, you did not just say that.
I didn't mean it.
And we won't say what Mike said, but he about threw him out the door. So, I mean, and let's finish that by saying, Mike, you guys, we beat the Yankees in the playoffs that year, correct?
Yeah, I think we did.
If I remember right, I
think that's enough said them. Right there.
All right, Mike, I'm forever sorry for that comment.
I've got used to Kirk's comments that he didn't really mean it. You know.
See,
you're right. He didn't mean
it. You have to have some compassion for me. I struggle.
He just doesn't. He doesn't think sometimes. That's why I love him.
So, anyways, Mike, past that story. So I mean, what was it like coaching? And you got to coach in 2 World Series. Unfortunately, the cards didn't fall right for either one to win either one of them. But what was it like coaching? Just being in that atmosphere on I guess a world stage.
Yeah, Kurt, that's a good question. Both experiences are so totally different. The experience in '95, there weren't many of us that had ever been in the World Series on that ball club, coaches and me included. And I remember calling Tony La Russa and Tom, I can't think of his name, but he was the manager of the Twins, Tom Kelly. And asked, they'd both been in, asked for anything that they could give me advice or what to look out for or what to expect. But you can be told, like La Russa's advice was, might just enjoy the journey. Sit back and work hard, but enjoy. Don't forget to enjoy the journey through the World Series. And I thought, well, that's pretty good advice. But I got, you get so wrapped up in it, and so everything is so intense and so immediate that you forget to enjoy the journey. I enjoyed it after it was over, but
yeah.
It was, you go. It's just everything is so much larger, so much brighter, so much intense than really probably anybody that can really imagine. And so you have to work hard at keeping things normal with your ball club. Keeping life or your routine as normal as possible. Going through all that because, the riders have gone from maybe 15 following you a night to there's, 300, 400, 500 riders and TV people that I don't know how many camera cables I've tripped over walking out to the batting practice. And, it's just, everything it's just so much more. And I noticed that in the press conferences after the game, how many more stupid questions were asked?
Like Kirk was asking.
Yeah,
yeah, right. Same kind of questions.
Thanks
for chiming in, Sharon. Well, yeah, you probably lose if you're in front of everybody after a game and you're getting nailed with all these ridiculous questions and you're ticked off, you lost, and that probably didn't help anything.
Yeah. I remember telling one rider from Birmingham. He asked me a question, and I thought, well, that's a stupid question. And I said, how about let's work from this premise? You do your job, and I'll do mine. And that was just a totally wrong thing to say. And so that's kind of how I would stumble occasionally with the press.
So, okay, so let's stay in that, and obviously for Cleveland Indians fans, the 90s were, honestly, the Indians were probably the most successful team in Major League Baseball for that decade. So what would you say, Mike, in that year, what was your favorite team to coach, which year, and what was your favorite player to coach?
Oh, wow. Man.
Probably my favorite team.
And you could put a couple of players in there, but just highlight a couple of the guys you enjoyed being around.
Probably my favorite team to coach was to manage the '97 team because we weren't expected to do a whole lot. I think we were expected obviously to get into the postseason, but beyond that we weren't given much of a chance, and we just had a team of a bunch of grinders. Marquise Griffin and Tomey and all these guys that just absolute Matt Williams, just a bunch of grinders, and it was fun to watch them grind. You know, and the coaching staff was a good coaching staff, and we grinded as much as they were harder than the players did. It was just, you know, we were there every day, and that's hard to do, you know, for six straight months almost, you know, working every day of the week. But the players that I enjoyed the most was probably, you know, obviously Sandy Alomar. I really enjoyed being around Sandy and managing Sandy. He's just Sandy is a good guy. He's a great ball player, and he knew baseball, and so he was a real pleasure to manage. God, there's so many others. I enjoyed managing Omar Vizquel because Omar was a free spirit. You know, I mean, he kind of he did things. He'd scratch your head. It's like, you know, when he'd catch fly balls, he'd go back and catch them over his shoulder that he could have turned around and camped out.
He was amazing.
He had a great glove.
Why did you do that? And I told him one time, I said, you know, I don't mind you doing all those things, Omar. I really don't. I said, but the first one you miss, then we're gonna have a serious problem. So kind of weigh that. So, but those two, just off the top of my head, Omar and Sam. Well, Jimmy Tomey, who's an all-time favorite of mine, and Kenny Lofton, and Matt Williams was great to be around because Matt was all business all the time, and so it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's interesting to hear your perspective on, you know, some of the players, because, you know, those are all guys that, you know, they perceive as great guys, but you don't really know, you know, how they are with, you know, off the field, or even just a coach, or to get to know them as individuals. But you know, it's good to hear, you know, things like that. Kenny Lofton was my guy. I used to
number 7
wanted to be like Kenny Lofton you know, back in the day. So
yeah.
You know,
but don't get me wrong, you know, just because, I mean, they're worse than turds. there were a couple of turds. But,
I believe that.
So let me ask you. So, what about Manny Ramirez? How was he?
What's that about Manny?
Yeah, was he easy to manage?
I love Manny. Manny was like everybody's little brother. You know, everybody, all the players and everybody, they took care of him like he was their little brother. And
that's
Manny,
cool.
Manny was never a problem. Manny was a good kid. He was a good kid. He could play.
Oh yeah, Albert Bell. He was probably could be a handful, but, you know, I mean, he definitely was a fan favorite for a while.
But, you know, Albert was Albert, and you know, Albert and I had a pretty good relationship. For the longest time, and early in his career, in my career too as a manager, you know, we had a real good sit down between us, and from that on, our relationship was good.
Well, my favorite memory of Albert was when he was it was playoffs, and you know, I think they were accusing him of having a cork bat, and he hit that home run and flexed in the dugout. That was a pretty memorable time.
Yeah, that was pretty special, especially against the Red Sox.
And so, we had Albert in the minor leagues when he was Joey.
Oh,
right,
yeah,
Joey.
Yeah, that's right. That's
well,
right.
Mike and a good relationship by the time they got to the big leagues together.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Mike, do you think the relationship with like managers and players from when you were in the league, do you think it's a lot different now, and how things are with Major League Baseball and with, you know, all these crazy salaries and these managers losing their jobs over, you know, a couple years? Do you think the game's shifted at all?
Well, the game shifted, Kirk, but I think that the manager-player dynamic is still the same. You know, people used to ask me, how do you manage all these guys that are making so much money than you are? Well, I was making pretty decent money, so I didn't have a complaint. But it comes down to, you know, money never entered into it. You know, hurt a player or listen to conversation that, I'm not going to listen to you because, I'm my salary's bigger than yours. It all comes down to respect. And if they respect you as a manager, you respect them as a player. And that's really pretty much what it's all about. I've always said that 99.9% of the players playing today, and even back when I managed, that had they been told, okay, we're going to give you $1 a day to play, they would play because they love the game. They may not like it. I mean, making $40 million is a lot better than making $1. But
right.
But they still do the game because they love the game. The vast majority of them. There are some that the dollar's the almighty king. But for every one of those, there's 100 of them that play the game because they love to play the game. Making that kind of money just makes it a lot easier.
So, those things, especially, I coach basketball, coach a high school team, and those types of things, are things that, definitely I hold near and dear to my heart as well. Just how you build that relationship. You really pour into the players that you're coaching. It's not really all about winning the championships, even though that's what you want to do. It's about developing the people and developing them to be, respectful people, to, learn the game and improve the game. And, it's more about the people than anything else.
Yeah, I think so, Seth. I think it's people like you doing your job like that with young kids makes and made my job a lot easier as a manager and, coaching adults. I think you're absolutely right.
Well, and what a great legacy for Mike. You take Tommy, for instance. He spent a good portion of his career with Cleveland with Mike as the manager. Mike, and now Jim's in the Hall of Fame. So it's like that shows kudos to you, Mike, of that relationship and propelling these players to be that much better. And it's cool to know that he's in the Hall of Fame because of managers like you and people around him.
So I appreciate you saying that, but it all comes down to the fact that Jim's mom and dad did a great job raising him.
Good point.
Carrying on their beliefs, and the good Lord gave him a lot of talent, and he developed that talent like he was supposed to. I mean, it's just Jimmy is one of the all good guys that ever played this game.
Well, Mike, I do have to say, just being on this recording, anybody that is listening or will listen to this recording, Mike and Sharon are two of the most generous people that you will ever meet. And he cooks one heck of a mean steak. We had the opportunity. Hey, I'm telling you, that was
a good steak.
I'm
still waiting on my second
about
steak,
that.
but that's
Yep. But
Big Jake told me one time, I was talking to him, and it was on an off day, and he looked at me and he said, Mike, there's two things in this world, in this country, that every man thinks he can do better than the other man. And I said, what's that? And he said, cook a steak and manage a baseball team.
Well, I think you do both of those pretty darn well. So, one more question I do have for you is, what do you think about the name change? I know that's a topic of discussion amongst a lot of people, and obviously can spark some arguments. But I am kind of anxious to hear what you think about it, and Sharon.
Well, I'm going to try to be real diplomatic.
Okay.
It's like anything else new in anybody's life. It takes time to get used to the idea. It's still hard for me to say Guardians instead of Indians because it's been Indians for 100 years.
Yeah, right.
Am I a big fan of the name change? More so now than I was 2 months ago. So,
yeah.
I think that the people that made the decision to do this, it was well thought out. And that's really, it's not all I can say, but it's all I'm going to say.
Sure.
It is what it is, and we're the Guardians now, not the Indians, and we'll all get used to that as time goes by.
That's a great answer, and you know what? I would have hated to be the person who had to make that decision and have to go through what they had to go through to try to figure out how to get to the name that we have today. And there's always going to be people that are gonna knock it or not like it, but it is what it is. You can't change it, and I think it's more probably what people think of. Growing up for them was the Indians, and it's more that nostalgia, that feel to it than anything else. It's not the name or anything like that. It really comes down to the people, like we talked about a little bit ago.
Yeah, and those last 100 years, you're not going to get rid of the memories. The memories are always going to be there. Those are the 48's always going to be the Cleveland Indians world champs. That'll always be there. It's just, I guess, it's a new chapter now, and they're just trying to do the right thing per se, and it's just honestly what Mike said, change is hard. It's change is hard for everyone.
The thing is, the only thing that has to happen is they win a World Series, and everybody's going to forget about it anyway. So
I have a recommendation of a manager that could do that.
I'm busy, man. I can't do it. I'm trying to
wasn't
run the Hartford Marketplace.
Trying. I was going to recommend Mike, but I think.
Oh, okay.
So, Mike, are you fully retired now? What's going on with you guys? Like, your involvement with the team? Are you just relaxing and?
It really hasn't changed. My title is special advisor to the president, which is I'm a glorified consultant. And so I still do work for the Guardians. I almost said Indians, but the Guardians.
Right.
Everything is the same. It's been the pandemic's changed so much of everything that it's been harder to keep tabs on what's going on internally with the Guardians. But the Indians and now the Guardians have been awfully good to Sharon and I over the years, and we certainly appreciate the things that they've done for us, so we're still the same, just different name change, different year.
Okay.
Well, Mike and Sharon, we really do appreciate everything that you are to Kirk and I, to the Hartford Marketplace. Just so everybody knows, I mean, Mike. The first time we met Mike, he came out, and he wanted to, and I felt like he genuinely cared about. We had him teach some do some hitting instructions and stuff for the kids, and
he did some history on
the Indians and things like that, and he really truly cared about the kids and the people that were there, and we've been able to build a relationship with you and Sharon. You guys are like I don't know, I kind of want to claim you as my parents. I think you guys have definitely been pretty special to us.
If you had said grandfather, you and I were going to have problems.
I was going to say grandparents, so I'm so glad I didn't.
Oh, I'm not going there. You're too young for that.
No, and you guys are busy, but we would love to have you guys back out for some. Mike, remember Mike and Sharon came out for the book signing for Mike's book.
Oh yeah, yep.
People still talk about that and how great it was to have them there. And Sharon has the world's best bobblehead.
Hey, I was just about to bring that up, and I have it signed. It's sitting in my office. Sharon signed it for me.
Every time you walk in, I'm like, hey, look, it's Ellen DeGeneres. Sorry, that's not funny.
every time I've got one sitting in my office. Every time I walk in and see it, I almost throw up in my mouth.
Sharon, I will say that bobblehead does not do you justice, because you in person, you are way more beautiful in person than that bobblehead.
Well, I appreciate it. Anyway, it's all.
We really appreciate you guys and taking the time to do this podcast with us, and hopefully we'll be able to see you guys soon.
All right, you bet. Y'all are the best.
All right, thanks, guys.
You guys are too. We appreciate you.
Take care.
Yep. Bye-bye.